Oh, I forgot my water. Quick little screen share. Sorry, that was right in the microphone, huh? Okay. Full screen and we're set. Okay. Welcome everyone. Today's class is going to incorporate some balancing into our flow portion of class. It'll be a little different than normal, but as usual, a little bit familiar, some stuff new, mix it all together. So when you're ready, find your way to a comfortable laying down position. We'll start in, Shavasana or constructive rest pose, depending on if you want to have your knees bent or straight. Maybe try both ways or grab a pillow or blanket. Just getting as comfortable as you can here for a few moments. Just take it in as you settle. Just kind of reflecting on your day so far up to this point. Maybe taking a couple of sighing breaths if that feels normal. I always feel like a sigh just gets me a little closer to the present moment. I don't know. It's just such a good releaser. And noticing your back and whichever parts of your body are touching the floor. Just kind of get a sense here, side to side. Does it feel kind of equal or even pressure? Like through your right shoulder and your left shoulder? Do you feel off kilter or kind of balanced? We're just kind of calibrating things here. So you might wiggle a little bit or move a little bit so you can kind of sense into that pressure into the floor. And to the best of your ability, let all of your muscles start to soften. I like the imagery of like melting. Just noticing which thoughts or which topics or feelings come into your awareness. And without much judgment, just taking note. Here's what's on my mind. Oh, my mind, it just thinks and thinks. What is it thinking up next? Finding our proper oral posture for our optimized breathing. So checking in with your jaw. You could even bring your hands up and just give your jaw a little bit of a massage if you'd like. Otherwise, just taking a few breaths with sensation there and softening. Bring the tongue up to the roof of your mouth with the tip of your tongue just behind your front teeth. Just a bit of space between the biting surfaces of your teeth and lips sealed. Sensing or imagining that your nostrils are widening, your nasal passageways are widening, and just gets really easy to breathe. Relaxed jaw, smooth, easy breath. And then try to think about it a little less. Let your shoulders soften, let your hands ungrip. If you would like to set an intention for your practice, please feel free to do so now. Maybe calling to mind an emotion or value that you'd like to focus on or grow in your life. Maybe you dedicate this time to someone or a group of people who just need a little extra love. Let's take 3 clearing breaths as we begin reawakening here. Inhaling through your nose and sighing through the mouth. There's 3 total, going at your own pace. And starting to wiggle your fingers and toes as you let your head kind of rock side to side. Maybe starting to circle your ankles and wrists a little bit both ways. Bend the elbows, get a little bit of rotation or bending through the elbows and shoulders. We're just kind of moving all the joints here. Let's bend the knees. Let's bend and straighten the legs a couple times. This also kind of moves our hips if we're bending and straightening as in some way that includes the hips here. So we're just kind of using all the major joints of our body at some point. And we'll head into a long body stretch. So straightening out those arms and legs and reaching in opposite directions, growing long through both sides of the body. All right, and then we'll hug the knees in toward the chest, taking a little bit of free movement, rocking and rolling some pressure around the low back and the sacrum. For a lot of people, it doesn't feel great to like actually rock and roll up the spine, but if you are someone who does like that, that's also available, of course. Just getting pressure, getting things kind of circulating back. All right. And then keeping our knees lifted, let's bring the arms out wide. We'll get a little active twist going here. Take a breath in up here at the center. With your exhale, let your knees twist toward the right as your head and gaze look toward the left. Nice and slow, take it easy. With an inhale, use your abdominal strength to get back up to the center. And then exhale, knees twist to the left, gaze to the right. Inhale up to the center. And exhale, keep going, twist to the other way. Do this a couple more times. So we end up doing about 3 on each side. So if you're still with me here, maybe one more round. And back to the center. Go ahead and roll onto either side. Press your way up to a seat. And then come right through to hands and knees for cat and cow. Hands will more or less below the shoulders, knees more or less below the hips. You can straighten your legs out a couple of times here first, if you'd like. And then eventually we'll take a big breath in, cow pose, lowering the belly, lifting your gaze and tailbone. And exhale, cat, rounding up through the spine, tucking your chin and tailbone as well. Inhaling to cow. Exhale, cat. Keep flowing here. And you might experiment with amping up or tamping down the intensity of your cat and cow. If you've had a really tiring day, maybe you take it nice and slow. You've had kind of a sluggish day and you feel that you need to move or get your energy going a little bit more, you might kind of go a little faster. Well, maybe not faster, but just like a level of intensity, you know, or like seriousness. Okay, coming back to neutral tabletop here. Your choice if you want to bring your hands up to blocks or not. We're gonna do some shoulder push-ups here. We're not going all the way down. We're just gonna press up and down through the shoulders. So we're protracting and retracting through the spine here. So basically, hands and arms, or arms will stay straight here. Press into your blocks or the floor first. So you're the center of your back and your spine's kind of pressing up. We're almost getting like a cow shape, but with a neutral pelvis here. And then keeping your arms straight, let's see if we can lower the spine. So we're kind of relaxing the shoulders, the chest lowers, but the arms are still straight here. You'll notice your shoulder blades are really hugged together when you're in that low position. So we'll push the floor away, shoulder blades spread out wide. You might even feel a stretch there between the shoulders. And then we protract the shoulder blades, lowering the chest. If it doesn't quite make sense on that plane, you can kind of sit up on your knees, and as if you're holding a present or a big box, you can kind of do the same thing here, like arms are straight, hand that gift as far as you can in front of you, and then retract and pull back as far as you can. So we're just kind of patterning this movement through the shoulders. That can be kind of a subtle awareness there. So if you're not quite feeling it, that's okay. Okay, let's find our way to extended child's pose. Our knees could come out wide, big toes touching behind you. Sink your head and heart toward the floor. You can always be up on your forearms or take other variations. You don't always have to go as far or as deep as you can. Optional to add on thread the needle arms here. We'll stay with our legs about the same. Let's come up, plant that left hand on the floor, and then thread the right arm underneath. So we're dipping down and through that right shoulder and side of your head, maybe touching the floor. Maybe bring your head or shoulder up onto a block. You feel quite nice. We're kind of pushing back or kind of leaning into that right shoulder. Left hand just finding a place to feel supportive. Eventually switching sides, but first pressing your way up and reaching that right arm high, and then switching. So the right hand plants, the left arm dips down and through, threading the needle. Left shoulder, left side of the head, finding support. And zeroing in on that left shoulder. And when you've had enough, coming back up, let's come to crocodile pose. So straightening out the legs and lowering down to your belly. Excuse me. Let's press the feet down into the floor here, hands next to the chest with your elbows hugging in. Inhale, baby cobra. We'll stay lifted here for a couple of breaths and feel your shoulder blades here. Let's retract so the shoulder blades are hugging together at the center. Retract your neck just a little bit. So you're kind of making a double chin, but it's okay. Inhale, and then exhale, lower down. This time we'll keep the upper body lowered And let's keep the legs straight and active. Let's lift the right leg just straight. Could be just a couple inches that the foot comes up off of the floor, and then lower it back down. Switching sides, the right top of the right foot presses down as the left leg lifts. Left heel lifting, and then lower it back down. Let's do that a couple more times. We're inhaling, the right leg lifts, just go like 50%, and exhale, lower. Inhale, left leg lifts, and exhale, lower. Go ahead and do that one more time on each side, trying to keep the rest of your body stable. Not a whole lot of movement throughout the rest of the body if possible. And then we'll press our way back up to tabletop. Let's grab our blocks and find a downward dog. Curling your toes under, picking up the hips. Right away, finding your breath, committed to that flow, and then pedaling out your legs, bending and straightening opposite knees, or twisting and turning a little bit through the shoulders. All right, bend your knees, look up toward the top of your mat, step, walk, or jump your way to the top, ragdoll, forward fold. We can toe heel the feet out a little wider if that's more comfortable. You could grab opposite elbows here as you let your upper body hang kind of loose. Nodding your head yes, shaking your head no, taking a few moments to work with gravity. And then start to make your way up to stand, maybe walking your hands up your legs. Let's get a little bit of a shake going here at the top. Can do your own thing here, maybe lifting and lowering your heels a couple of times. You could do I forget what the move is called in Qigong, but you just like let your wrists be floppy and you like jump and you let your body just, it feels like everything is moving, but it's supposed to like open up your energy channels a little bit more. So do what you have to do. That just feels so good. Okay, now we're coming up to the top of the mat. Take a look at your feet. Pick up your toes, give them a little wiggle, and then set your feet back down. Let's keep all the toes down and just pick up the big toes if we can. If it doesn't quite happen, you can always bend over and kind of will your way, pressing the other toes down and seeing if you can pick up just the big toes. And then we'll try to do the opposite. Set those big toes down. See if you can lift up all the other toes. Go ahead and switch back and forth a couple of times. If you want to get kind of tricky, maybe you could do, oh man, it's very tricky to do one on one side and the other on the other. Oh, I don't even think it's possible for me to do one foot one way. Okay, just a little dexterity here through our feet. Give them a little wiggle, stomp them out. We'll be done with that part for now. We're gonna do a little bit of balancing, so feel free to come up to a wall. We're gonna come up to our tippy toes here. Lifting, and then exhale to lower. Let's just breathe like that a couple of times. We're inhaling as we lift, and exhale as we lower. Feel free to add on the arms if you'd like. Inhaling, taking up space, growing tall, and exhaling as you lower. If you want a real big challenge, you could try closing your eyes or like halfway closing your eyes. Ooh, really challenging. Definitely hold on to a little something if you're going full eyes closed. Ooh, novel movement. Okay, here we are. We're going to get into our Balancing flow section here, I'm going to give you a little preview of what we'll be doing so you have a sense of where we're headed. So we'll be at the top of our mat like we normally are. We'll start we'll get to like a tree pose here. And then eventually we'll lift the arms up, grabbing hold of the same wrist that is the knee is lifted, and then we'll step that foot back and come into this nice side bend. So that's what it's going to look like. You can give it a try on the other side here too if you want. Just whatever knee is lifted, that's the arm you'll end up holding. And then here, stepping that foot back and just getting this nice side bend, but it's also very fancy. Okay, so that's the preview of what's coming. We're going to call that a step back side bend. There must be a name for it, but I couldn't find a name of this pose. So step back side bend is what we're going to go for today. Okay, on up to the top of your mat, maybe bringing your hands into heart center, just getting a feel here for a moment. Calling to mind your intention if you set one today. And then we'll take a clearing breath in through the nose and decide to release. Shifting all of your weight to the right foot. Slowly starting to find a tree pose with the left knee out toward the left side. You can always keep your toes down here, knowing that we'll do that step back, or maybe bringing that foot up to your calf. Take as many breaths here as you'd like, and eventually we'll catch an inhale to lift the arms high. Grab hold of the left wrist and exhale, step your left foot back, a little back bend. Take a few breaths, stretching through the palm of that left hand as well. So thinking about lengthening that left side, stretching through that left calf. Oh, this feels so good to me. Okay, and then see if you can step back up and forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step just the right foot back and lower your right knee to the mat. Inhale, sweep the arms high, getting a stretch through the right hip flexors here. Exhale, low arrow pose. So the arms sweep forward, down, and then back. Head is reaching forward. The arms are reaching back, and we're again in that shoulder protraction position where the shoulder blades are hugging together tight. Inhale, sweep your arms down and then forward and up. One more time like that. Exhale, low arrow. Inhale, rising up. Exhale, open arm twist toward the left. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, come back up to center. Exhale, hands come down to the mat or the blocks. Curl your right toes under, pick up that right knee, and send your left foot back and high, three-legged down dog. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale, step that left foot forward. And then the right. Forward fold at the top. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, fold. Inhale, rise all the way up, joining hands overhead. Exhale, hands to heart center. Take a few nourishing breaths. Maybe closing your eyes, working on that interoception, that internal focus. And you can continue to choose your intensity level here. Maybe just continuing to keep that breath, I want to say serious. But you can also keep it slow and airy. Take a clearing breath together in through the nose. Big sigh. Opening your eyes if they were closed. Let's shift all of the weight now to the left foot. We'll start to find our tree pose with the right knee now off to the right side. Hands wherever you want. Maybe lifting your right foot up or keeping that kickstand down on the ground for extra support. Go at your own timing, but eventually using an inhale to lift your arms high, grabbing hold of your right wrist this time. And exhale, step back, side bend. Keep breathing here. If you want to add on any other little pulsing movements, I don't know, like opening and closing that right hand or what have you, breathing is plenty. And then eventually come back up to the top. Inhale and exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step just that left foot back this time, lowering your left knee down to the mat. Left toes can stay curled under or flattened down to the mat. Inhale, reaching both hands high, feeling that little hip flexor stretch through the left hip. Exhale, low arrow, sweeping the arms forward, back, or down and back. Inhale, sweep them back up. Exhale, arrow. Inhale, reaching back up this time. With our exhale, let's open arm twist to the right. Take a breath here, inhale. And exhale. Inhale, come back up to the center. Exhale, lower your hands down to blocks. We're curling the left toes under, picking up that left knee. Step that right foot back or bring it all the way through to our three-legged downward dog. Right toes lifting. 3 breaths, inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Last breath in. And exhale, step the right foot forward first, and then the left. Finding your way up there. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise all the way up, joining hands overhead. Exhale, lower back, down to heart center. Closing your eyes if you want. Inner focus. And let's take a clearing breath into the nose and a sigh to release. Let's go ahead and find our way to a wall or a chair. We'll be doing legs up the wall or legs up on a chair, especially if you have high blood pressure or glaucoma or anything where a little bit of extra pressure in the head would not be good. Then you'll just put your legs up on a chair, knees bent. If you are going for legs up the wall, I'm gonna put kind of a little cushion thing down before I start to sit. Might be nice to have something under your head or your blocks close by too. So take your time. If you have your own technique for getting up onto a wall, go right ahead. My technique is just sitting as close one of the hips as close as possible to the wall. And then I'm just kind of leaning back down onto my forearms and hands as I whoop, swing those legs up. There's all kinds of variations here. So if you're hypermobile like me and your knees like can go past straight, definitely make sure to keep a slight bend in your knees. Seems like common sense, but it's hard for us hypermobile people. And you could even, some people like to put like a weight or even like a block on their foot. I'm not sure if I can do this right here, but you could hold the block between your feet. You could see if you could get a block there on top of your feet, just kind of balancing on there. I'm gonna see if I can do that. Oh, oh yeah, there we go. Just like as a point of another point of sensation, another place you can kind of focus. If you're feeling any pain at all, of course, backing out and finding a pain-free variation. And we're going to do about 10 breaths in each of these legs up the wall poses. Unless you prefer to just hang out here, camp out in our classic legs up the wall, you certainly can just tune me out and enjoy. Let's find that proper oral posture again. A little bit of space between the biting surfaces of your teeth, lips sealed, and tongue resting up on the roof of your mouth. Breathing through the nostrils all the way deep, deep down, as if you could breathe to the tailbone or even like the sacrum bone there at the lowest part of the spine that connects to the pelvis. About 5 more breaths here. Choose your own adventure, maybe starting to bring your legs into a V. Letting the legs go out a little wider. And again, hypermobile people, keep a little bend of your knees. It'll look a little different for us, but that's okay. I like to kind of hold my legs up. You could kind of wedge your blocks underneath the sides of your legs, or a pillow or something, but possibly putting your elbows on the floor and then your hands just kind of pressing into your thighs. Another 10 breaths or so. The only time your teeth are really supposed to touch, like and stay touching, um, is like when you're eating or biting into something. Otherwise, our normal oral posture, we really shouldn't have our teeth touching or clenching. There should be that little tiny bit of space, really brought on by the tongue position. So the more you know. When you're ready to transition on, let's help the legs bend your knees. You find a little squat. You could back away from the wall or push yourself farther away from the wall here to find the right amount of squat for you. You might choose a different arm or hand position. Maybe you bring your arms like into that this pose where your elbows are bent, your fingertips are spread out wide. Maybe you rest your head in your hands, or press your hands back into your thighs, or hug your knees into your chest. There's a million ways to make it your own. 5 or so more breaths. I love the focus of diaphragmatic breath in a pose like this. For me, it's like I have to really keep my focus on that low and slow breath. Otherwise, it's just the body's kind of squeezed too much for that to be natural. So to me, that helps me remember. And if it's to you, we can the soles of the feet together and let the toe or let the knees rather go out wide. I kind of like pushing my knees toward the wall a little bit more and kind of pushing a little bit more on one knee and then switching to push a little bit more on the other. But I bet you can find something interesting as well. You can always support your knees or your thighs with those blocks again, or your hands. Relax through the shoulders, smoothing out your forehead. And then we'll to move into a twist here. So bringing or helping your knees back up to the center. I like to push myself away from the wall a bit here for space. Really, let's turn onto the right side. Your feet can still press into the wall and reach that right arm out toward the right side. We'll do some more of those Feldenkrais twists. Just one more time working on the patterning of our shoulder movement here. So the left hand stacking on top of your right hand. Reach your left fingers farther than your right fingers. You feel that widening, that stretching between your shoulder blades. And then we'll retract, pulling the left hand across your right arm, across your collarbones, and whatever feels like a comfortable all the way open. I think I said it the opposite way earlier. protracting and retracting. But you retract when your shoulder blades are together. Gotta think of a good way to remember that. Okay, you're welcome to stay here, maybe even turning your head toward the twist, toward the left side. Or you can open and close a couple of times. If that's your thing, let's bend the left elbow, bring the left fingers to the left shoulder, and then slide your hand across the collarbones and all the way back down that right arm, past the right fingertips. And continuing in that way, maybe opening and closing a couple more times. You could take a detour or do a little off-roading, just opening up or closing up in a different type of way. I just want to have that opening and closing of the shoulder blade. And then let's start to switch sides, so walking your feet up and over. This time to the left side, coming to the fetal position more or less on the left. Left hand, left arm straight out to the left side, right hand stacking on top this time. Reach those right fingers, the right hand farther than the left, stretching between the shoulder blades. And retract. Pull the right hand across your collarbone, or across the left arm across the collarbones and all the way open. Maybe that means your right arm ends up somewhere in the air or resting on the floor behind you. You could turn your gaze toward the right as well. And then you do you, opening and closing a couple times if you'd like. Right elbow bending so your right fingertips make contact with the right shoulder, sliding across your collarbones and all the way down that left arm, reaching the right fingertips past the left before repeating. This is a good one to do when you're procrastinating getting out of bed, or preparing to get out of bed. And legs up the wall, of course, so good for before bed. If you ever feel like you can't sleep, you could try legs up the wall to help. And eventually, let's roll on to the left side. Press your way up just enough so you can find your way back to your mat for Shavasana. Lowering onto your back, maybe hugging your knees in toward your chest once more, or any other little finishing movements or stretches that you'd like, maybe a happy baby or something. And then eventually your final resting pose. Closing your eyes if you want. Proper oral posture, of course. Smoothing out any tension through your face, especially through the tongue and the jaw. Especially the temples and all through your scalp. The muscles that work so hard, holding your neck up, helping you twist and turn and look in every direction. Resting those shoulders and arms. Letting your hands have a nice rest. Feeling the flow of breath. Animating the torso, moving through the torso. Maybe you can feel how the breath is related to the pelvis, or how they're kind of interconnected in a way. You might be able to notice like a slight tilt of the pelvis with your breath. Relaxing each glute, each hip joint, all those muscles throughout the pelvis, your strong thighs and legs, your feet, giving your feet a good rest. Letting your awareness just kind of float around your physical body or beyond. Clearing away that which no longer serves you or that which is not yours anymore, or maybe never even was. A lot of time, other people's energy can get sticky. We can feel tied to situations or things that are no longer even in our lives. So, just kind of energetically reclaiming yourself, reclaiming your energy. Each breath helping you to become more and more you. Dusting out all the cobwebs, all the dust. We'll take about 5 more breaths here. As you finish out these last moments here, just checking in first if you're ready to reawaken. Otherwise, just keep resting. We'll wiggle fingers and toes when we're ready. Continuing to bring in some movement. Maybe yawning, swallowing, or just opening and closing your jaw a few times. Eventually rolling into the fetal position on either side for another big breath, as present with it as you can. And in no hurry whatsoever, start to make your way up to a seat. We'll join hands together at heart center, calling to mind your intention today. Just notice if you'd like to hold on to it for the rest of your day, or if you're ready to kind of let it go for now, into the ether. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. May we have peace in our actions, peace in our words, and peace in our thoughts. Bringing thumbs to third eye center. Let's seal in our practice with a little bow forward together now. Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Hope you enjoyed today's class. Let me know if you ever come across a cool yoga pose out in the wild or an inspiring little thing you want to try, you can always send them my way if you'd like. You can unmute if you want to say a quick goodbye. Otherwise, hope to see you again soon.